Jannik Sinner dodges the Alcaraz topic. It's a very personal matter. The Italian, world number one, avoids comparisons with the great tennis legends and prefers discretion regarding his conversation with the Spanish player. The absence of Carlos Alcaraz from the upcoming clay court tournaments, Rome and Roland Garros, has completely changed the landscape of the circuit. Without the Spaniard in the picture, the draw opens up for many contenders, and all eyes now turn to Jannik Sinner. The Italian, currently ranked number one in the world, faces a golden opportunity to continue expanding his dominance and move closer to a historic record in Madrid, with the chance to win 5 consecutive Masters 1000 titles. However, far from fueling the hype, Sinner downplayed any comparisons with the great legends of tennis. To be honest, I don't think much about it. I can't compare myself to Djokovic, Nadal, or Federer. They are on a different level, he said. The Italian was also asked whether he had held a private conversation with Alcaraz after learning about his withdrawal, but he chose discretion. It's a very personal matter, so I won't answer, he stated. He did acknowledge the impact of the Spaniard's absence, both for the Madrid tournament and the rest of the clay swing. His absence will surely be felt not only here, especially because we are in Spain, but even more at Roland Garros, he added. Alcaraz's withdrawal is bad news for the spectacle but also completely reshapes the battle for Paris. Without the two-time defending champion in the draw, Sinner sees part of the path cleared toward a goal that still eludes him, winning his first Roland Garros. Madrid will now be the first major test of this new scenario, with the world number one carrying the full spotlight of the tournament. Possible clash with Jodar. In Madrid, the Italian has already reached the round of 16, where he will now face Cameron Norrie. If he beats the Brit, Sinner could meet Rafa Jodar in the quarterfinals, in what is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated matches of the tournament. The world number one, Jannik Sinner, praised Spain's Rafael Jodar, one of the revelations of the competition, with whom he could cross paths in the quarterfinals of the Madrid Masters 1000, predicting a bright future for him. Sinner trained days ago on the court next to the 19-year-old from Madrid, who is playing the Caja Mágica tournament for the first time. He's a player with a lot of talent. Today he was warming up with Nikolai Budkov-Kjær, the Norwegian. They're from a very interesting generation, born in 2006. There are João Fonseca, Jodar, Nikolai, Rei Sakamoto. They are all very good players, and it's a very competitive year. Jodar hits the ball with great precision, with very natural power. You can hear it in the sound when he strikes it, and it's a good sound coming off the racket, explained the world number one. He has a lot of talent. He's going to be a great player in the future, and he's already showing it. I like his mentality, he's quite calm. I don't know him personally, but he seems very humble. Yes, he's a very, very good player, and I wish him the best, Sinner added. The Italian has already reached 24 consecutive victories in Masters 1000 tournaments. He has surpassed Rafa Nadal and is approaching the records of Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. However, Sinner rejects such comparisons. I don't think about those records. I've always said, and I still say, that I don't compare myself with those names. They have achieved so much in their careers, and I'm just getting started. Yes, they are on another level. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to play as many matches as possible. But what they did is something completely different. I just try to give 100% in every match. If I win, great. If not, I tried my best and I have no regrets. That's all, he explained. I never take anything for granted. I try to understand what works well in certain conditions. A good example is Indian Wells and Miami, two completely different conditions. And when you return to clay, you don't have much time, but you try to understand what works there. Then you come here. This is a clay court itself, but I feel it has very particular conditions. I just try to understand what works. That's my motivation, to put myself in the best possible position to win as many matches as possible, and that's it, he added. Regarding the court conditions, Sinner said they are more or less the same as in previous days. More or less the same. I think it also depends on the temperature and whether you play under the sun. It was a bit warmer, so it tends to be a bit more slippery because the court dries faster. But everything was quite fast. At the start of the set, they watered the court, so there is more grip. So yes, we are also getting used to it a bit more. And what if I told you that Jannik Sinner was secretly watching a young Spanish player during a match? While the world was looking the other way? On the center court of the Mutua Madrid Open, something quiet but impactful was happening. Sinner followed every shot, every point, every gesture from Rafa Jodar. Without him knowing. What exactly did he see in that 19-year-old to keep watching him so closely? Stay with us, because this story goes far beyond a simple match. Rafa Jodar is delivering one of the most striking breakthroughs in Spanish tennis in recent years, establishing himself as an emerging figure in an increasingly competitive and demanding international circuit. At just 19 years old, his presence at the Mutua Madrid Open was not initially surrounded by major media expectations, but his performance on court has completely changed the perception. His ability to compete with intensity, intelligence, and determination has quickly placed him on the radar of fans and experts looking for the next great figure in world tennis. The turning point came with his impressive victory over Alex de Minaur, a player firmly established in the top 10 of the world rankings and known for his consistency and speed on court. Jodar not only won the match but did so convincingly, with a 6-3, 6-1 scoreline that left his opponent with no answers. This result reflects not only his current level but also his enormous potential for growth, as defeating a player of that caliber on such a big stage is no common feat. Beyond the result, what truly stood out was the way Jodar managed every moment of the match, showing maturity beyond his years and tactical awareness worthy of far more experienced players. He knew when to take risks, when to stay calm, and how to capitalize on his opponent's mistakes without losing focus at any point. This kind of intelligence on court is what usually marks the difference between promising players and those who truly establish themselves among the elite of professional tennis in the long term. Another key element in his development is his relationship with his father, who is not only part of his coaching team but also a fundamental pillar of his emotional stability. Having that trusted figure on the bench gives him extra security in high-pressure moments, something that is directly reflected in his performance. Jodar has openly acknowledged the importance of this bond, highlighting how it positively influences the way he approaches challenges on the professional circuit. The environment of the Mutua Madrid Open has also been decisive in this story, as it is one of the most prestigious tournaments on the calendar, where pressure and visibility reach very high levels. Adapting to the court conditions, especially at altitude and on clay, requires a process that many players fail to complete successfully. However, Jodar used his first match in the tournament to adjust his game, which allowed him to arrive at more demanding matches with greater confidence. Finally, the support of the crowd has played a fundamental role in his performance, becoming a constant source of motivation during his matches. Playing at home, on such an iconic court as Manolo Santana, adds an emotional weight that can be both a boost and a source of pressure. In Jodar's case, he has managed to channel that energy in a positive way, using it as fuel to elevate his level of play and deliver a performance that is already being considered one of the most outstanding of the tournament. But while Rafa Jodar was shining under the spotlight and earning the recognition of the crowd, there was a parallel story unfolding in silence, far from the cameras and immediate media attention. In the stands, observing every detail of the match with almost surgical precision, was Jannik Sinner, one of the most important names in tennis today. His presence was neither announced nor noticed by Jodar himself, which makes this moment far more intriguing than it may seem at first glance. The idea that a player of Sinner's level would dedicate his time to watching a young talent live inevitably generates all kinds of interpretations within the tennis world. It's not simply about watching another match, but about analyzing, studying, and perhaps anticipating what could become a future threat on the circuit. Situations like this are not common, and when they do happen, they usually indicate that something special is beginning to take shape in the career of an emerging player. What is most striking of all is that Jodar had absolutely no idea he was being observed by one of the biggest stars of the moment, which reinforces the authenticity of his performance. He didn't play to impress anyone in particular, he wasn't influenced by the presence of external figures, he simply went out to compete and give his best. This naturalness is precisely one of the most valuable qualities in high-level sport, where pressure can affect the performance of even the most experienced players.